right? So next we will check what are the different data types in MySQL, right? So previously I told that currently we are only going to use int and varchar, and there are many data types. So now we will start looking into some of the data types that MySQL gives us, right? So we'll take column by column example. We will explore different data types that we have and how we can insert data into them, right? Let us start. So previously I created that employees table, right? I will delete and I'll recreate it with new columns, right? So if you also want, you can do this one, right? Drop table employees, right? So that we can again start from a clean slate, right? Now we will check one by one data types. So you already know integer and varchar, right? Date, timestamp, decimal, boolean. Four more data types that we are going to learn. So we will create our favorite employees table, right? So create table. You can use if not exist that I explained before. For now I'm skipping it, but ideally you should add. Okay, I'll say for now create table employees, right? Then bracket and it with semicolon, and inside that we will add our definition, right? So we will say I want to give it a column employee ID. It should be integer, right? We have already seen integer, right? Now what I want is first name, right? This I want varchar of 200, right? Then also I want last name, right? This also it will be varchar of 200. Okay, now I want to capture birth date, right? Birth date, what should be the value of this one? It will be timestamp, right? Also I want to capture salary, which is of type decimal. Decimal takes two values. One is the total length of the total digits of this of the number, and after that how many decimal values you want, right? We will look little more detail into the decimal, but for now it takes two values. First is the total number of digits, second is the decimal precision. Okay, right? And I'll add one more field is manager, right? This I want it to be of boolean, that means true and false, right? So we have integer, we have varchar, we have timestamp, we have decimal, and now we also have boolean, right? Now I will run this one, right? So it created the table, right? Now I will delete this one. I'll say describe employees, right? So if you see here, I get employee ID as int, right? First name, last name, birth date as timestamp, salary in decimal, and is manager is boolean, right? So if you see here, boolean is represented as tiny int. That means either we can store 0 or we can store 1. That's how boolean will be represented in the database, right? Now let's try inserting some data. Okay, so I will say as usual insert into, right, employees. I'll say values, right? So I'll insert all the values one by one in serial order. Okay, so I'll say one employee name, first name, right, John. Second name Doe, or the last name is Doe. Then I will add birth date, right? So for example, birth date is 1994. Okay, 2 then 20, right? So this is the day. So this part is day, month, year, right? And I'll add the this is the date, This will be the time. So I'll say 9:30:00. That means hour, minutes, and seconds, right? So I will add this one, right? So birth date is done. Salary. Salary, what I can say? I can say 60,000.50 because this is decimal, right? And decimal 10 2, that means the second part 2, that means I can add 2 digits in the decimal place, right? So this is the salary. Then is manager or is not a manager. So what I can say? True, right? I'll try to insert this one, right? And let me make some space here, right? So you can see the whole script. Insert into employees, values, and the corresponding value. ID, first name, last name, birth, salary, is manager or is not a manager, right? So I will bring it back, okay, and I'll say run this one, control enter, right? So we have inserted one row, right? Now if we run a select star from employees, right, we will get the data, right? Right, the employee ID, first name, last name, birth date, salary, and is manager, we will get the data, right? Okay, now we will take a deeper look into the decimal, right? So what is this decimal? Decimal data type, it takes two arguments, right? First and second one. Now what are these two arguments? The first argument is the total number of digits, both, that is including both to the left of the decimal and to the right of the decimal. And the second parameter 2 is the digit which is on the right side of the decimal, right? That means before the decimal I can place 8 digits, after the decimal I can place 2 digits, right? That's what 10,2 means, right? Now what I'll do is I'll create another table, right? Create table salary, right? And inside the salary I will say employee ID as int, right? And monthly salary which is decimal, and let us say I'll call it as 8 comma 2. That means total number of digits can be 8, and in that the total number of digits after the decimal point will be 2, right? And I will say create table, right? Table is created. Now let us try to insert a few values and we will see examples on this one, right? So I will say insert into salary, right? Values. First value we will add is 1 comma 5000.50, right? Can I add more values? Yes, I can add more values, right? I'll say ID 2, right? And I will say 6000, and decimal places were 2, so I will say 987. I'll try to add 3 values now. We'll see what happens. And ID 3, say 8000, or I'll give 8 places and 90, right? Okay, now I'll try to insert this. We'll see what happens. And there is a space, no space is allowed between the number and the decimal, so it gave the error, right? So I'll run this again, right? So we get few out of range, out of range value. So it says out of range monthly salary at row. That means I tried to add more than what I specified. So I said 8. So total number of digits should have been 8. So I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 9, 10 11 I tried to add. That's why it is complaining, right? That's fine. Now you understood. Now what I will do is I'll run a select statement. Select star from salary, and we will run this one, right? So it did not insert anything, right, because of this error, right? So I will fix this error, right? And now I will try to insert, right? It now inserted 3 rows, right? Now if I try to read this one, right? So this is inserted properly, this value is inserted properly. Now if you see this value here, I should add only 2 digits after the decimal, but I have added 3 digit. So what it did, it rounded it up to the next precision, that is 87, it made it to 9, or that is 90. So 0 will be omitted, so it will be 99, right? So that's how it will behave. If you add more digit after the decimal, it will round up. If you try to add more digits before the decimal, then you will get the insertion error, right? That is decimal data type, more or less, in a nutshell, right? Now based on your need, you can decide how much precision you want. If you want more precision into the decimal, based on what kind of calculation, what kind of data you want to insert, based on that you can change the value. It need not always be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be any number, right? Based on your need, you can create the decimal data type, right? Now can I do mathematical operation on decimal? Of course I can do, right? Because this is a decimal, right? I can do mathematical operation. So what I can do, I will say select, of course we have employee ID and monthly salary, right? Now what I want is, I want to have one more field, right? So here I have select employee ID, monthly salary, and I want to have one more field called as annual salary. That means monthly salary multiplied by 12, right? So how can I do that? Simply monthly salary star 12, and I'll give it an alias as YEAR and Y yearly salary, right? I will make some additional space so that you guys can see. Okay, and one comma is missing here. Add the comma. Right now, I think everything is correct. Let us try to run once, right? We'll see. Yeah, syntax error here. It should be backtick, right? And run this one. Yes, I get the information, right? So this 5,000 has become, around 60,000, and as like it has multiplied it with 12, right? So you get the result. So we can do mathematical operation on decimal as well, right?